I love really good movies, and Miyazaki is clearly one of the living masters of filmmaking, and I've been a fan of his movies for a number of years. And so when I got the call that I had the opportunity to do a voice in the English version, I jumped at the chance. I feel like when I watch his movies, Spirited Away, for example, or Princess Mononoke, uh, you just get that feeling. That feeling you remember what it's like to be 4 years old when the world is a magical place and everything's wondrous. And um, he sort of invites you in to see that way again. It's ultimately, this is a story of a guy who leads a special life in some ways, but he's not going off and meeting dragons or flying pigs or anything like that. He has a job he takes very seriously. He loves it, and it's an exciting job. He designs airplanes, and he has his friends and his colleagues and his love and the things that we all have or hope to have in our lives. But the way that he sees them, whether it's in waking life or especially in his dreams, because you spend quite a bit of time in his dreams in this movie, I love that perspective on being a human being. You see the character in various moments in the movie appreciating not only airplanes, but he has an appreciation for poetry and he has an appreciation for music. And I love a guy like that who he's not a vain person. He's not a flamboyant person or someone who's really very decorative about himself, but when it comes to the planes that he designs, he has such care and love for making them beautiful. I really like the love story in this movie because it feels real. And even though it has its moments, in fact, let me put it this way, the whole thing feels achingly beautiful, but if you examine it, it's not so much larger than life. It's just, again, it's sort of a matter of perspective. It's because of the way Miyazaki looks at things. It's sort of these normal moments of walking through the rain and the umbrella is leaking and we're both soaking wet. You could look at that as sort of a dull and annoying, issue to deal with. Or if you're Miyazaki, you could make a scene that's just, jaw-droppingly beautiful. Jiro really looks up to this famous aeronautical engineer, this very larger-than-life Italian guy named Caproni. Caproni, and of course, in our version of the movie, he's voiced by Stanley Tucci, who's an actor that I very much look up to and have always admired, and we always, I guess we all dream of getting to speak with and converse with our idols, our mentors, or, I mean, he's not even necessarily a mentor because he never meets him, but he becomes sort of a mentor because his work has such an impact on Jiro. Emily's really good at this movie because she's got both the ability to be very heartfelt, but also she's very technically adept. And that's what this process takes, because you're going line by line and trying to fit a very limited amount of time that matches to the Japanese. It's a very technical process, but you don't want that, you don't want the technical aspects to swallow up the feelings. And she's really able to find that balance. So I think she's been perfect for it. It's different than other movies of his I've seen before because it's a little more grounded in a human story. The movies I know of his are sort of the kind of magic that's, fantastical creatures and just bizarre things you'd never see in real life. Whereas this is a story, a very grounded story of real life, but told with that same perspective of magic. I think what's cool though for English speakers, someone like me who doesn't speak Japanese, about watching our version of the movie is then you don't have to read. And generally, like I say, I don't mind reading subtitles, but Miyazaki's movies are so visual. There's so much to look at. There's so many little details and every little thing in the frame. If there's a scene with a crowd of people and you see 20 characters, every single one of those 20 people is going to have an interesting little moment go on. There's so many great little visual morsels to chew on that it's sort of a shame to be reading subtitles. So in that sense, I think it's worth seeing the movie even if it's not in its original language. Sometimes when I go to the movies, I want to laugh, and sometimes when I go, I want to see something to get me pumped up. But sometimes I just want to see something beautiful. And this movie is, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm really not. This is about as beautiful a movie as I've ever seen in my life. It's, Miyazaki says it's his last movie, and this guy is clearly, ask anyone, clearly one of the great masters ever in cinema. And this is a masterpiece.